going to call Porter Williams.
Chair. Mr Chair, I want to concentrate my contribution on 50U1, which looks at the corporation, the Housing New Zealand Corporation, being responsible for managing the development of affordable housing under the plan. Mr Chairman, I have been the beneficiary of the way Housing New Zealand Corporation used to be under a Labour government. And what I mean by that was, in those days, Housing New Zealand had at its heart the desire not only to house people, but to help people and communities develop communities. And the way they did that, Mr Chair, was they included within their mandate the ability to have community housing, which allowed community organisations to benefit from the housing program put in place by the government and have access to housing for community groups. What this amendment in this particular clause does, Mr Chairman, is it requires the corporation to once again become the heart of community development as it once was. Because not only will this look at providing affordable housing, it will also look at providing appropriate housing. During the homelessness inquiry that has been around the country, one of the overriding concerns that has come out of this is that the housing we are currently building is 4-bedroom executive homes, when what we actually need are 1- and 2-bedroom homes. We need modest housing. We need housing that will help us to house the elderly, to house people who are single parent families. We have this overburden of these large houses, which actually, we have a surplus almost of bedrooms, when what we actually need is much more appropriate housing of a kind that will suit the needs of our communities. What this government has done over the last 8 years is not only scaled back that involvement of communities being able to participate with Housing New Zealand to develop in consultation and cooperation the types of housing that they need for their communities, but this government has actually done something that's a lot more sinister. It's actually taken the community out of its program. When we look at the removal of the 4 well-beings out of the local government requirements of local governments, it really speaks to the heart of what sits at this bill and why we oppose this bill and why we are supporting Part 3. We need to put communities back into our housing plans. And I want to use an example what has happened in my own community in Aranui, where at one stage Housing New Zealand was proposing some redevelopment of homes. The community got engaged in that discussion and helped them to design homes that were fit for purpose, 1- and 2-bedroom homes, single access, garages that were really useful for elderly people. In the latest iteration of developments by Housing New Zealand into that same community, when the community asked for consultation to be part of the process, they were denied the ability to affect any change to the plans that Housing New Zealand were making in that community. And what that's resulted in is an intensive development that's gone into the Aranui community of 2-storey homes, several homes on what were the properties of 1 or 2 have now become developments of 4 or 5 or 6, where there are single accesses into these large groups of homes, which are a complete anathema to the way that this community wanted those homes to be, because there was a lack of consultation. All through this discussion, all through this debate, there has been this thought that consultation should sit at the heart of when we are making such significant changes. Now, that's no difference when we are looking at Part 3 about how we want our communities to develop, because there's no doubt that good housing, affordable housing, appropriate housing is actually the way we develop our strong communities. And I would urge the government to support this, because this is the way we are going to build our strong communities, where people know that they are able to stay in the same house night after night, and they have security of tenure.
But